This is higher, it's practice paper E. We're looking at question 23 in the non-calculator paper. Okay, so the diagram shows right angled triangle, height 2 units, base 1 unit, angle P. Okay, find the exact values of cosine P and cosine 2P. Okay, cosine P will be quite straightforward, just using a bit of the SOHCAHTOA that I know. Cosine 2P, I'll use a formula sheet for that. So let's go for the first part. Right, so let's set up this triangle anyway. So we know that this is the hypotenuse here. If we think about our kind of SOHCAHTOA work, across from here will be the opposite side. This side here will be the adjacent side that's left there. Right, so what I'm looking for is for cosine P is going to be equal to the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. So I need to work out the side for the hypotenuse. And just by Pythagoras, okay? By Pythagoras theorem, what I'll do is I'll say that that side there is equal to 2 squared plus 1 squared. And that should give me the square root of 5 that's going to be there. So the hypotenuse is the square root of 5. So what I can do then is I can start by going for part A, 1, and what I'll do is I'll say that cosine P is going to be equal to the adjacent over the hypotenuse. The adjacent is equal to 1 all over root 5. And that's it complete. That's the first part done. Looking at part 2. For part 2, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the formula sheet and I have to work out what cosine 2p is. Okay, so the formula list that I've got for the trig formulae are these ones here. I don't need to use anything at the top there. It's cosine 2p that I've got, so I can use that, or that. The information that I've already worked out would be the cosine of p, so I'm going to use this formula that's sitting here. Okay, so I'll go for cosine 2p, and just straight from the formula sheet, what I'll do is I'll write that down. 2 cosine squared p minus 1. From there, what I'll do is I'll substitute the value that I've already worked out just above. So it'll be 2 times, and it'll be that squared, subtracting 1. From there, what we'll go for is, if I square this out, what I can do is square the top, which will just be 1, square the bottom, which will be root 5 times root 5, which will give me 5. Or it'll give me root 25, which gives me 5, and subtract 1 from that. So 2 over 5 subtracting 1 will give me minus 3 over 5. And that'll be that one complete there. Right, let's look at part B. Okay. Right, for part B, what we have is by writing 3p is equal to 2p plus p, find the exact value of cosine 3p. Right, so what I have to find out is the exact value of cosine 3p. And I've been given a bit of a clue here, or a bit of a hint on what to do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use what they've suggested here to work out my final answer. Okay, so instead of 3p there, what I'm going to say is that that's going to be equal to, that's going to be cosine 2p plus p. Okay, so all I've done is substituted in, instead of 3p, I've used the 2p plus p in there. What I'll then do is I'll go to the formula sheet again, and what I can do is use my trig formulae, and I'll expand it out using this formula that's here. Right then, so let's go ahead and do that. So what we've got is, I've got cosine 2p, I've got cosine p, changing the sign for this one, and that's going to be sine 2p, sine p. Okay, and that's me set up, ready to go. If I know all of these, I can just substitute all the numbers in. I won't do, I'll need to work out one of them, and the one that I'm sure I'll need to work out will be the sine 2p, and I've not looked at sine p yet either. So let's have a look at what we're doing here. So let me substitute in first of all. So I've got cosine 2p, and that's going to be minus 3 over 5. So that's the first thing I'm substituting in. I've got cos p, which is 1 over root 5. I'm going to substitute in, right there's the one I don't know, and for sine p, sine is going to be the opposite over hypotenuse, so that's going to be 2 over root 5. 2 over root 5. Right, I'm going to work that one out here, okay? So let's work out sine 2p first of all. And what I can do here is I can go back to my formula sheet again and see that sine 2p would be equal to 2 sine p cos p. So I'm just going to use this formula that's here, just substituting that one in. Right, so let's go for 2 sine p cos p. Sine p was 2 over root 5, so that would be 2 over root 5. Cosine p is 1 over root 5. When I multiply these out, 2 times 2 times 1 just gives me 4 on the top, and on the bottom, just remember there's a 1 over that, the 2 over 1. So it's 1 times root 5, and that will just give me 5. So that's going to be 4 over 5 that I'm going to get for sine 2p. So there's 4 over 5 getting substituted in there. Right, so all I need to do now is just multiply everything through. So on the bottom, on the denominator, what I've got is a common denominator, which is going to be 5 root 5 already. Okay, and that's going to be minus 3, and that's going to be minus 8 there. So my final answer is going to be minus 11 all over 5 root 5, and that's it, complete. Okay, let's see where the marks are going to come along here. So first mark I'm going to get is just for going for the cosine p. So there's my first mark there. 2 marks for the next part. So I'll get 1 mark for using the correct formula and substituting incorrectly. And finally the mark for the answer. So that's 3 marks there for part A. Let's go for part B, and we've got 4 marks to give here. I'm going to give 1 mark for replacing the 3p with 2p plus p. 1 mark for expanding the formula out. There'll be 1 other mark for substituting in the correct values, which will include the working out the sine 2p from here. And there we go there for the final answer. So that would be, question there would be out of 7 marks.